am here now with Congresswoman Virginia Foxx. We're so happy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Danielle. It's always a treat to be with you all at Mountain Television Network.
Well, we have lots of things that we are going to talk with you about today, but we're going to start talking a little bit about the economy. Can you give us an update on how things are going?
Sure. Well, we got a good report on the number of jobs that had been created last month, and we're all happy about that. We want to see more jobs created, but the unfortunate thing is that at the same time that we had a couple 100,000 jobs created, 800,000 people dropped out of the workforce. That is not a good situation.
Right.
Actually, I saw a scale the other day, I need to get you a copy of it, that showed how few people are working and how many people are not working, and how those few people are supporting so many people. We have, I think, the lowest labor force participation rate that we've had in about 50 years. I believe I heard it was 62.8%. That is not good for our country, that we have so few people working. And we need to change that. A big problem is that the debt and deficit are dragging down the economy. They're keeping employers from creating jobs. What Republicans are doing is our best to cut federal government spending. We're doing our best to keep taxes low so that more money will be in the private economy and less at the federal government level. So that's the challenge that we see. Unfortunately, we're not getting much cooperation from the president, from our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, and from the Senate. Of course, the president's budget proposed lots of spending, never balancing ever out into infinity. Our budget balances within 10 years. It saves Medicare, it saves Medicaid. But what people talk to me all the time about are jobs, jobs, jobs. And they keep asking where are the jobs. Another thing that's a problem right now, and I know everybody's facing it that drives a car, because I pump my own gas, and the gas prices are very high right now.
Definitely.
All the upheaval going on in the Middle East, the upheaval all over the world, creates those higher gas prices. But if the president would simply agree to allow the Keystone Pipeline to go into effect, we could help bring down gas prices. At the same time, we would create jobs. 40,000 jobs would be created almost immediately. Now, the president has delayed his decision till after the election this fall. I think it's a purely political decision, because he has people who promised to give money to his library, promised to give money to the Democrats for the election, and they said, well, if you approve the Keystone Pipeline, we won't give you that money. It's really wrong to be using the American people for political decisions. It's hurting us, and we need to bring down energy prices. That's another thing that's keeping people from creating jobs. The high cost of Obamacare. All these policies put in effect by the administration are really affecting the economy negatively.
So a lot of factors play into this.
A lot of factors play into it, yeah, they do.
Right. Well, thank you for that update. And you're also going to talk with us today a little bit about Benghazi, certainly a hot topic right now.
It is. We have been investigating Benghazi in the House ever since it happened. There are a lot of unanswered questions about Benghazi, and I'm very concerned about that, as are, again, many people. I get a lot of letters about Benghazi. We saw this memo that came out from Mr. Rhodes in the White House the other day, and it definitely shows that the White House was involved in changing the talking points about Benghazi and doing its best to take away any responsibility for the president's policies for what happened in Benghazi. But to answer Hillary Clinton's question, What difference does it make? It makes a big difference. We had 4 Americans killed. The first ambassador killed in over 30 years. And you know, when an ambassador is killed in our consulate or in our embassy, that's like killing an ambassador in this country.
Right.
That is our property. It's a very serious thing to have happen. And it's clear that the president and the people surrounding him are not taking this seriously. They promised the families of the victims of Benghazi they would get to the bottom of it. The man who perpetuated the event was in a television studio giving interviews a few days after it happened, but the FBI says they can't locate him. It is unconscionable that this administration has done no more to get the people who caused those deaths and to find the cause of and the connections with all the people there. And now more violence is breaking out in Libya. We installed, or the administration installed, an Islamist government there, but it's fighting with other Islamist people in that area. And so we've got real problems all over in our foreign affairs.
Right.
And this administration simply is not getting to the root of them. The president said that Al-Qaeda was dead. It's clear it is not dead.
Right.
There are hot spots all over the country. But I want people to know that we are continuing to investigate Benghazi. We're doing our jobs through oversight. We are going wherever the evidence leads us. If it leads to the White House, as this memo seems to lead us to certainly a change in the talking points, the way people are dealing with it. I don't know that people are willing yet to call it a cover-up, but they're certainly looking at all the issues. And I just want the public to understand we have not given up. The speaker said from the very beginning he was going to get to the bottom of Benghazi, and we're going to do that.
Wonderful. Now, any kind of timeline that we can be looking ahead to as far as new information?
No, again, we are asking for information. You know, the curious thing, and I think the average American would say, if the administration has nothing to hide, why doesn't it just come out? Why doesn't it send people to testify?
Right.
Why don't they release all the documents, not redact them? You know, we got the same email in the Congress that the Judicial Watch got, but the copy we got was redacted, meaning they had blacked out all the pertinent information. But because of a good judge and Judicial Watch demanding the same information through a Freedom of Information Act, we got better information. So if they have nothing to hide, why not simply put out the information? That's what should be done. You know, when you have something to hide, you keep the information back. If you have nothing to hide, you put it all out there. So let's hope that we can get to the bottom of this, but we have to do it the constitutional way. We're exercising our constitutional right of oversight, our constitutional responsibility of oversight, and we'll continue to do that in the House of Representatives. Of course, the Senate does nothing again, and that's always a problem.
Absolutely. Now, we're also going to talk with you today a little bit about another hot topic, the IRS. Talk with us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, people have just recently had to file their income taxes, and most people are very unhappy when they have to do that because they're sending over to Uncle Sam their hard-earned money. But we are continuing on that issue too. We are going to have a vote on a contempt charge for Lois Lerner that has been working its way through the Oversight Committee. We have to have an IRS that is non-partisan, non-ideological. It's very clear that that has not been the case in the last few years. More and more evidence is coming out showing IRS employees engaging in campaign activities, which is a violation of the Hatch Act. It is showing the IRS employees aiding and abetting the liberals
Right.
in the White House as well as across the country. I had recently a constituent come to me and said he's been waiting for over a year for a 501c3 authorization. That is ridiculous. It's a very legitimate 501c3. It's a spay-neuter program for animals, but they can't do their jobs legitimately because they're being involved in things they have no business being involved in. Right. And it's an issue of great concern to us. So we're going to continue to pursue that. The people in this country are afraid of the IRS. Everybody's afraid of the IRS,
right,
because of its power. And it has ruined people's lives over the years. And our goal is to make the IRS be independent and non-ideological. And both Democrats and Republicans should want that. If there were a Republican president in the White House, I would not want the president to use the IRS to go after people.
Right.
We have to have an IRS that doesn't go after people for their political beliefs. And I feel very strongly about that.
Absolutely. Well, it certainly sounds like things are not slowing down anytime soon.
They are not. And you know, Danielle, there's one other issue that I want to talk about, and that is how we're treating our veterans these days through the Veterans Administration. I am very concerned about the report about this Veterans Hospital in Arizona, but I'm also very concerned, and have been for a long time, about the Veterans Administration office in Winston-Salem, where they are not handling files properly. My office is documenting the incompetence and the way they put people off. We have veterans who are waiting 10 years to get their cases settled,
right,
by the VA, their disability cases, and we're very concerned about that. I have been doing my due diligence, my staff has been doing its due diligence in looking at the way they're handling cases through our office. It's delay, 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 delay. And you know, I have to tell you that part of the problem with the IRS, and let me come back to that for just a second. You know, we had all these incompetent IRS people, and IRS people who didn't pay their taxes getting bonuses. That's wrong. People are incensed about that, as am I. But the reason that's happening, Danielle, is because these people are union members.
Right.
And they have it in their union contracts that they're going to get this money. That is a major problem for us at the federal government level. It is the same thing with the Veterans Administration. These people are union members. They're protected by the union. So even if they're incompetent or dishonest, they get protected. That is wrong also again. Everybody should be incensed about that. And the average citizen is, but this administration is not. And we have to make changes in those areas. The veterans provided us the opportunity you and I are having right now to speak freely, to move freely around this country, and to not treat them with all the respect they deserve is absolutely wrong.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people would agree with you on that.
Right. And I want to thank Mountain Television Network for what you all do to highlight the service of veterans. You've done a fabulous job of documenting their stories and sharing those with the public, and I really appreciate that so much.
Oh, absolutely. And we appreciate you coming in so much today. It's always nice to catch up with you when you're in town. And
well,
thank you so much
I
for
come
coming
home
in.
every weekend, but so often, you know, our schedules don't mesh, so I can, I'm glad when our schedules mesh and I'm able to come in and share, because unfortunately the lamestream media doesn't keep the public up to date as much as it should. And so I'm happy for the opportunity to share things. And of course I encourage people to write me, go on my website, because my website has a lot of up-to-date information that they're not going to get in the media. But you all do a great job with your daily news too, of bringing out stories that people aren't going to hear other places.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much, and we will look
Sure.
forward to talking with you again soon.
Thanks, Danielle.